The MMA fortune teller.
The teller, the teller, the teller, the teller, the teller, the teller.
Emmaneul Sanchez taking on Jeremy Kennedy. Two guys that have been around the game here for a bit now. Jeremy Kennedy, I still remember when he was an undefeated prospect taking on Alexander Volkanovski. Volkanovski at the time still only had that one loss. And everybody was looking at that fight at the time like whoever prevailed from that fight was going to be a big-time contender in the near future. Volkanovski was able to handle business there, if you guys remember. And I believe he did finish Kennedy as well. That was a tough fight for Kennedy. And yeah, he got ground and pounded in the second round there. And, Volkanovski worked him. Since then, he won 2 fights in a row, then took a loss, a pretty devastating loss over in the PFL scene, got finished there. Then he strung off a couple victories in a row. The Daniel Pineda fight, that was a loss, but remember Pineda was on some performance-enhancing drugs, so they put no contest, but that he got finished there. Victories over Steven Seiler, Matt Passett, I know you guys might know these names, but not necessarily crazy about their skills, and then loses to Adam Borges. He's Jeremy Kennedy is a guy that a lot of guys in the fight game, they said this guy has the world of experience, but really it hasn't panned out too well for him, and especially in the big fights. And this is a big fight for him. This is a co-main event spot here on a big Bellator card against a guy in Emmaneul Sanchez who's just been around the game, grinding it out for forever. He's a well-rounded fighter. He's extremely scrappy. And although he's coming off 2 losses, you take a look at the Mads Burnell fight. Some people thought that he should have won that fight. If you guys remember that, some people thought that was a close fight. Not sure if that was necessarily the case, but he was in the fight for sure. Was taken down a little bit, and then he lost to Patricio Pitbull, who you guys know the deal with Patricio Pitbull. No shame in that loss at all. Before that was handling business, took out Daniel Wichel, Taiwan Claxton, Georgia Karakanian. Those are nice names in the game. We could take a deeper look as well. Before that, lost to Patricio Pitbull again. Those 2 losses, but victories over Sam Sicilia, Daniel Strauss, Marcos Galvao, Georgie Karakanian again, Daniel Pineda, Justin Lawrence, Henry Corrales. He's a solid fighter. And again, this is a guy that really brings the fight. Jeremy Kennedy at times, man, if you kind of implement your will in him, I feel like he kind of, I don't want to say cowers. I'm looking for a better word there, man, but he kind of folds a little bit. And I got to roll with Emmaneul Sanchez here. I do. I know that he's hungry after that last loss, and he had moments in that fight, like I said. Kennedy will look to be the more of the tactical fighter in there, more of a technician. But I think that Sanchez can make things ugly, can make this a dog fight, and I could see him handling business. I want to pull this up now. We take a look at the live line. I'm not going to say that I'm necessarily crazy with where this line is, and I pick Emmaneul Sanchez to win the fight, but I do think the line is slightly off. I think that Jeremy Kennedy definitely has a solid chance to handle business as well, and I think the line should be a lot closer than it is. You see a little bit of action coming in on Kennedy, so people are in agreement, depending on the book here, but you see some action coming in on Kennedy, and I think that Kennedy, if he's going to win this fight, can maybe pump the jab from the outside, try to keep this fight on the feet. If Sanchez does try to make things dirty or whatnot, Kennedy has to find himself on top position. Maybe can control Sanchez there a little bit. We've seen Sanchez controlled on the mat, pick his shots there, work a little bit of ground and pound, and most likely try to go for a decision. Maybe can look for a sub or something like that. We've seen Sanchez subbed at times. But again, when you're talking about a guy like Patricio Pitbull, he's a very talented fighter. It's not easy to do what he does. I'm going to edge Emmaneul Sanchez, though. Line slightly off, in my opinion. More value on Kennedy.
The MMA fortune teller.
The teller, the teller, the teller, the teller, the teller.